Thanks, Dr. Balkir. Thank you for starting us off. Next up, allow me to introduce Professor Dame Sally Davies, who is the UK's Special Envoy on Antimicrobial Resistance and formerly Chief Medical Officer for England. She's also the Sherpa for the Global Leaders Group. Mr. Davies, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank the President of the General Assembly for hosting this really important and timely meeting. And actually all of you for watching and caring. Good afternoon from Cambridge in England. So I've been advocating for tangible and ambitious action on AMR for almost a decade now. It matters to humans, to animals and the food chain. And also, we've now discovered the sustainability of the entire planet. Justice, equality and security depend on us getting this right. I started out as the Chief Medical Officer for England, campaigning for recognition of AMR, driving for action, including here with the political declaration in 2016 that our facilitator mentioned. With each step, we created more work to do and deliver, but we also understood how antimicrobials and antibiotics are really part of the infrastructure of a modern world for health, for food and the planet. I was honoured to co-convene the UN Interagency Coordination Group on AMR, called the IACG, and I've been using this position to generate momentum and advocate for collaboration across every country and sector to act on AMR. Our recommendations from the IACG were in 5 big areas. We're demanding unprecedented effort from governments, researchers, civil society and the private sector. We looked to national action plans to give us a path forward and accelerate action in countries, including access to and responsible and sustainable use of antimicrobials. We called for innovative action and research, like Vietnam's commitment to phase out antibiotics in agricultural production, and India's consultation on world's first piece of legislation to limit antibiotic pollution into rivers. We urged collaboration, and we can take inspiration from public-private sector collaboration on COVID-19, and how that's shown us that we can do this. We can look to communities that are learning and sharing best practices, like the creative school clubs, educating children about superbugs in Dodoma-Tanzania. We advocated for investors to use their power to leverage sustainability behaviours that mitigate AMR and integrate AMR into their decision-making. And I'm so proud of the 14 investors who've contributed to the Investor Action on AMR initiative. I hope more investors from across the world will join our initiative to enhance the global response. Finally, the IACG recommended global governance was needed to turn commitments into action. That's why we, as members of the Global Leaders Group, stand before you today. We've got to go further, faster, together. And honestly, we owe it to those who've lost their lives to this acute pandemic of COVID-19 and the healthcare heroes who battle every day to keep us safe, to stand up, that we prepare for the silent pandemic of AMR. So our children and our children's children inherit sustainable health, food and environmental systems. We're here to show the strength of multilateral collaborative action and innovation. We're here to engage with youth across the world whose future are fighting for. Now to find the momentum we need. We can see with COVID-19 what happens when we aren't prepared. We've been hearing in this previous session, but we can decide right now that our legacy should be to never let it happen again. And as the previous session emphasised, we need good data. So this summer, a world-first study will estimate the burden of AMR worldwide with an evidence base that will help make the pandemic visible. And we mustn't let inequity define the next decade. Instead, innovation and collaboration must drive our resolve to deliver the SDGs. So that's really why I and the whole Global Leaders Group are standing up for our people and our planet. Let's make it that our generation is the one that saved modern medicine, not the generation that lost it. Thank you.
Thank you to Professor Davies, speaking to us from Cambridge. Our next panellist is Ms. Sunita Narayan, Director General at the Centre for Science and Environment, Public Interest